Okay, in this video, I just want to give a rundown of some items that you can use to build a WISP if you are considering to start one in your area. Now, these items are not the ones that you have to use, but if you want to build one, this is just a start of what kind of products you need to get a WISP to actually to work. So let me get this started. Okay, first thing you need is the internet service to be able to provide to your clients. We call it a backhaul. Depends on where you get it from. You may have to do a relay per se from one site and get it to your tower. You may have fiber at the tower or at a building, and you can put your AP access point on top of the building. Whatever the scenario is in your setup, each and every setup is different in one way or another. This is what controls all of the AP and the CPEs, clients, premise equipment. The CPE is the radios that goes on your client's property that receives the internet. The AP access point is the radio that you put up on a tower or building that sends out the internet. Now, this Edge Router X is basically the brain of the WISP. It does the controlling of speed, the suspension of the clients when they do not pay, the routing of ports. Pretty much it just runs the system, and it utilizes different features by using UNMS. You set up your clients, you pick the CPE that matches your client, and you tell it what speed according to what packages at what speeds you put in UNMS, and it will automatically set that IP and that CPE device at that speed. This is the first AP that I used. It's a 120-degree sector. It's still running today, and it's been 2 or 3 years. I got roughly about 15 clients on this one and had no issues with it so far. This is the latest one I put up within the last 30 days of the time I made this video. I'm still testing this. I do believe I'm going to have to switch this one out, not because the radio does not work. In this setup, I have quite a bit of trees in my way. I can get a signal from the tower, the AP here, to the furthest client that I will be setting up. The speeds are very fluctuable. It does not stay stable at all. At one time, I get 30, 40 down, and then as the trees sway back and forth, I'll be doing good if I can get 10 or 15. So I'm going to take this one down and put up a 2.4 gigahertz instead of 5, so I can penetrate through the trees, because all we need is like 20 and 25 in this area. So if I can get 40, 50, or 60 out of 2.4 and it be throttled down to the speed that the client needs, then I would be fine. Theoretically, that's what I'm hoping to happen, and I got the new AP already in. I'm waiting for new CPEs to come in so I can actually test them before I climb the tower and change it out. Here is the NanoBeam M516 that I have on one of my sites, and these work great as long as you have line of sight. They are very small form factor. They blend in very well. They are easy to mount, and it's got different ways you can actually mount these. One thing I like about these is it's very easy to aim the antenna. You basically got like a 360 directions that you can actually, turn this. It's not like some of the other CPEs you got up and down, right and left. This, you can twist it. Some of the other CPEs, you can go right and left, up and down. You cannot twist it. So your mounting bar has to be leveled prior to you putting the antenna on it. This one, it does not matter because you can actually turn it and actually get it level. And that is the kind that I'm getting with the 2.4. It looks exactly the same. It's just the working mechanisms of electronics inside is on 2.4 instead of 5.0. These are the very first CPEs that I ever used, and they still working as of today, and I still got a few actually on hand. They work very well, line of sight. They have very good power to them. If you're going to put them as a PTP, point to point, even point to multiple point, works very well. I even used one of these as a access point and used these as CPEs on the same system because it was a clear sight and I like the power that's on them. It's a 23 and that's quite powerful. Now it is only 110, it's not 1000 port that's on it. So if you're looking to get something to somebody in line of sight and you're looking less than 50 speed down and up, these most likely can work. I haven't had any issues with these so far, and it's been 2 or 3 years since I've put the first one up. These are the ones that I go with now. One thing I like about these, a couple of things. One, it has a faster speed. I do believe it's like 400 plus throughput, and also it handles noise a lot better than this one does. This one does quite well, but when I got a hold of one of these in the exact same location, because somebody wanted faster speed than what this can handle, so I put one of these on the exact same pole, and it made a big difference. I had no issues of getting that extra speed. This is the cable that I actually used to put up on my last tower. I had to go up 110 feet, and I put this one, which is 125 feet. I had plenty left when it got down to the ground at the tower. Run it over to the building with all the gear, the router and everything in it, and I had no issues so far with it. This is a battery backup that I have on my latest site that I have. I needed some kind of battery backup, and no more than I'm going to have up there right now. This will definitely handle what actually is going to be needed. It's going to be the modem from the internet provider, and then it's going to be the little router, and then it's going to be a AP. And according to the amps that them items pull, the size of the batteries in this backup, I should get about 2.5 hours of runtime. Now, I've talked to the owner of the tower. They said it's very, very rare that power ever goes out in that area because it's all in commercial area. And he said pretty much if it ever goes out, they're pretty much putting it back online before they do residential areas. So this should be adequate enough to be able to keep everything running. He said it's been so long that he cannot remember the last time the power went out in that area. But you know how sometimes a transformer blow or whatever, an hour or so goes by. So you never know. But time will tell. Now to figure out what size backup you need, you can use a device right here, kilowatt. You can plug this in an outlet and plug all your devices into it and just see how much watts that it actually uses. Then you can do calculations that you can find online to figure out exactly how many, what size battery backup you need to run that many watts for so many hours. If you need to run it for 3 hours and you got 50 watts, well, you need something that will handle 50 watts for 3 hours. And you can do the calculation to figure that out. This item here, it comes very handy. You can figure out exactly how much power that it takes. This is a grounding block for your Ethernet that coming off your CPEs or your APs. It's a good practice to put these in line, because you never know, especially if you got a tower or even on a building and lightning strikes, power surges, or anything like that. You want to put one, you want to have the AP or the CPE, then you want one of these blocks, then you want to run the wire, then you want to put another one and ground it as well. So pretty much it isolates the everything in your building and also your APs and CPEs. So that's the best practice. I know not everybody does it, and I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I just put one, and I got some CPEs out there that does not have one. Now, of course, the pole that it's on is 5, 6 feet in the ground. So if anything strikes, it's pretty much grounded. So, I mean, like I said, every setup is unique of its own and different from others. I mean, there's different ways you can ground things. You can mount one of these on a pole, get your 8-foot grounding rod, bury it beside your pole, put your ground lug on it, ground it. Whatever works the best for your setup. And this is the tower that I'm working on right now of getting a WISP started. If you got any questions about anything that you have seen here, leave it in the comments below, and I'll get back with you as quick as I can.